Hello and welcome to Cleantech TV. My name is Giles Parkinson. Today we're talking to Mina Guli, the Executive Director of Peony Capital based in Beijing. Mina, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Giles. It's good to talk to you.
So Mina, you've been working and living in Beijing for the last few years. Can you explain briefly to us what it is you've been doing there and what opportunities you've been seeking out?
Sure. 4.5 years ago, I started a company called Peony Capital. And the purpose of our company is to work with China to reduce its emphasis on greenhouse gas emissions. And to do that, we've been involved with China's biggest power producers in developing some projects which are switching power source from coal-fired power to natural gas-fired power.
Is this coming from government policy, or is it just like a private investment drive because people want to do that themselves?
China has begun to understand the importance of the environment and the importance of availability of natural assets to its future economic growth. So this is exemplified by China's target announcement last year that it wanted to reach a 40 to 45% reduction of greenhouse gases per unit of GDP by 2020. Of course, that's a big challenge given the urbanisation drive of the country. The Australian government estimates that at the current rate of growth, by 2030, China will be 4 times the size it is today. And if you think that every year more than the entire population of Australia shifts into cities, that means that there's an incredible pressure on resources and an incredible pressure on the Chinese government to really try to do something about reducing its use of those resources to a sustainable level in order to meet its 40 to 45% target. And when you think that China is adding a new coal-fired power station every single week, that's a phenomenal amount of power that they're going to have to try to reduce from coal-fired to some other form of resources.
And you've said in the past that Australian companies are missing out on those opportunities. What do you mean by that? And what sort of opportunities are they missing out on?
In order for China to meet its 40 to 45% target of reductions per unit of GDP by 2020, China needs to spend about $30 to $51 billion per year on green technology and on greening its environment. That means they need to deploy up to 62 technologies, 43 of which need to come from outside China. The China Green Tech Initiative has estimated that this will be a total amount, will create a market worth about 0.5 to 1 trillion US dollars per year by 2013. I have been a witness on the ground to the greening of China's economy and to some of the opportunities which exist. I have been asked by Chinese companies and Chinese governments to give them access to clean technology. And yet when I explore the opportunities in Australia, I find very little interest in moving into China, either through the governments or through the private sector. I think that we are a land of great ideas, but we don't have a market to exploit those ideas. I think that we have enormous opportunity. There is an estimate that green technology will be the 3rd biggest industrial sector by 2030. That's a huge, huge opportunity for us to exploit. But I think that there is a fear of the unknown in Australia, and I think that we are increasingly looking internally at what we can do rather than looking off our own shores, despite the opportunity that exists in China.
And so what do you think might change that outlook from Australian companies?
China is looking for technology, but they're not looking in the obvious places. So they're not looking for technology in, for example, solar. China produces more than 50% of the world's solar cells. They're not looking for technology in wind. Goldwind, which is a Chinese company, is the 8th largest wind manufacturer in the world. They're looking in areas that are like, for example, water, industrial energy efficiency, and in clean coal. And I think that one of the things we need to do within Australia and as Australian business, industry and the government is to work together to understand where these opportunities lie, to understand that it's not about pushing things that we think we're strong at, for example, like solar or wind. It's about identifying places that China is looking for new technology, identifying whether or not within Australia we have a strength in those sectors, and then understanding how we can work together with the Chinese to really explore and develop those opportunities and take advantage of them for the benefit of Australia.
Mina, you're talking at the Cleantech Forum in Sydney at the end of February. What will your principal message be to the audience?
The thing I really want to tell people in Australia is that I am witness to a substantial green revolution going on in China, that China is becoming green, and it is an opportunity which is growing at vast rates. It is an opportunity that has the potential to be worth a significant amount of money. But there are certain issues which we need to be aware of. We need to take advantage of the opportunity now. Unless we take advantage of this opportunity now, other countries will do so ahead of us, and the opportunity will pass us by. It is like a ship sailing from the shore, and everybody is on board. But the problem is Australian companies are not on board, and we need to act now to take advantage of that. The second is that we need to be acting smart. We can't just go and have a scattergun approach to China and hope that it'll be the best of everything. We need to work together. We need to be consolidated. But most importantly, we need to act now, and it means not waiting for a carbon price. This is an opportunity which exists at the moment, right now, in China. And China is looking for technology, and if they don't get it from Australia, they'll get it from somewhere else. And that's not good for Australia, particularly when I know that we have these technologies on our own shore. We just haven't figured out how to transfer it. So my core message to Australian business and industry is going to be act smart and act now. And if we act smart and act now, we really can put the green back into the green and gold.
Mina, thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck at the forum.
My pleasure, Giles.